What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Lord Solar Prime. I know you guys haven't heard from me in a while, but we're going to be talking about Infernoids in this video. And took a break from the game. I think it's much needed for everybody to take a break every once in a while. But that's in the here there. We're going to talk about Infernoids in this video, and I kind of came up with a formula of how to actually break down his archetype in terms of talking about the monsters and their effects and their summoning conditions and things like that. So the 3 points of that formula is going to be the summoning restrictions, the summoning conditions, and the quick effect of all the Infernoids, which they all share. But before that, I want to let you guys know that I do have locals tonight, so I will be taking this deck to locals and trying it out against the competitive scene and giving you guys a deck profile and a tournament report on this deck later on this week or later on tonight. I'm not sure, but I know locals is tonight, so it may be tonight. Who knows? So just stay tuned for that if you guys want to see the deck profile. So let's go ahead and get into this formula I came up with, and we're going to talk about the summoning restrictions first. The summoning restrictions is as follows: Inferno monsters cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned by banishing Inferno monsters, whether it's from your hand or your graveyard, just depending on the level you try to summon. While the total levels and ranks of all effect monsters you control are 8 or lower. So Konami implemented a summoning restriction into this archetype, which I think is fantastic. It's fair. Let me just say that right now. It's actually a fair restriction, because without this restriction, it'd be just like Dragon Rulers, which nobody wants that. So let's move into the summoning conditions. The level 5 or higher Inferno monsters can be special summoned from the hand or the graveyard, while the level 4 or lower Inferno monsters can be summoned from the hand only by banishing Inferno monsters from the graveyard, guys. So depending on the level of the Inferno monster, depends on how many you have to banish from the hand or graveyard, or just from the graveyard for the level 4s. So it just depends on that. So let's get into this unique quick effect that they all possess, guys. The level 5 or higher Inferno monster can access this quick effect on either player's turn by tributing one monster you control to banish one card in your opponent's graveyard, where the level 4 or lower Inferno monster can only access this ability on your opponent's turn by tributing one monster you control to banish one card in your opponent's graveyard. So there we go with that. Now that we got that magical form out of the way, we can actually talk about the actual individual cards and their own unique abilities as a whole. So we're going to be talking about Infernoid Anuku right now, which is the boss monster of the set with a level 10, and he has 3,000 attack, 3,000 defense, and you summon him by banishing 3 Inferno monsters from your hand or your graveyard. And when he's special summoned, you can destroy all the monsters on the board except for Anuku, but that is a you-can ability, so you can use that, as you want. And his unique ability is once per turn, you can tribute one monster you control. You can tribute themselves for their effect. But you can tribute one monster you control to negate the activation of a spell or trap card and banish that spell or trap card, guys. So that's really, really huge when you want to get decks like Cleaves and Shut-Offs. Besides that, this boss monster has built-in protection with that effect. So if you're actually trying to make an attack on your opponent, you can tribute him or another card on the board to negate the activation of like a Deep Prison, Mirror Force, anything like that, or tribute him off to stop a Regeki or anything like that. So it's really, really good. I really do like that built-in protection. So moving on to the level 8 archetype, we have Infernoid Adontel with 2,800 attack. His unique ability is when he destroys the opponent's monster and sends it to the graveyard, he can make a second attack on your opponent, guys, which is really, really huge. Infernoids is all about OTKing your opponent very, very quickly, which no other Inferno monster in this archetype does it better than Adontel, when he's able to send an opponent's monster to the graveyard after the first attack and then initially making a second attack right after that, guys. So that's Infernoid Adontel. I really do enjoy that ability. It helps me OTK, and he's a really, really good card, guys. Moving on to my personal favorite is Infernoid Sisymus, which is going to be the 2,600 attacker. He's level 7. You can make Draco side big eye with this guy, but his ability is what I really, really like. When he attacks your opponent's monster during the end phase of the battle, not the end phase, during the end of the battle phase, he's able to banish one card on the field, guys. Whether it's face up, face down, or even in the pendulum zone, he's able to banish any card on the board, but he has to make an attack on your opponent's monster, guys, which is really, really good. With 2,600 attack, is really, really good. We're dealing with 2 monsters at one time. All right, moving on to the less played Infernoid monster, which is Infernoid P80. He's a level 5 with 2200 attack. And you have to banish 2 Infernoid monsters to get him on the board. Well, you have to banish him from the hand or from the grave, where, you know, Sightsemis and Adantel, you can banish 2 to put a 26 or a 2800 attacking monster on board, where this guy is just 22. His ability is not that great either. Well, I should say it's not going to be great this format. His ability is when this guy inflicts battle damage to your opponent by attacking over a monster, you get to send 1 card from their hand to the graveyard, which is good, but it's bad at the same time because you don't want to help your opponent out. With so many decks that's able to gain effects off their monsters being sent to the graveyard, it's just really, really not that good, this format, guys. Really not that good. All right, moving on to the level 4s. We have Infernoid Petrulia. He has 1800 attack, and his unique ability is once per turn you can destroy 1 spell or trap card on the field, but once he activates that effect, guys, he's not able to make an attack that turn. So please use that effect wisely. From this point on, the level 3 and the level 2 also share that effect where, you know, if they use their abilities, they cannot attack that turn, guys. So please keep that in mind. So the Archetype has a back row popper, which is in the form of Petrulia, and they also have a front row popper, which is Infernoid Harmonic, which allows you to actually target 1 monster card on the field and destroy it. But of course, he can attack once he activates that effect. But he's the level 3 of the Archetype. Moving on to the level 2, which is one of the favorite of the lesser level Infernoids because of his effect. He has 2000 defense. He's a level 2. You can target 1 card on the field and return it to the opponent's hand, or turn it to the owner's hand. And once he does that effect, of course, he cannot make an attack the turn he used that ability, guys. So he's basically just like a pulse, but you can't attack with him, guys. So he's really, really good. All right, that does it for the monsters and their unique abilities. We're gonna move on to the actual spell and trap cards of the Archetype. So moving on, we have Void Expansion. Void Expansion is the field card for this Archetype, and it lets you spell summon a token during each one of your standby phase, and that token is classified to be an Infernoid monster. So it actually helps you summon the Infernoid monster because you're able to tribute the token off to help fulfill the requirements to summon these guys. So that's really, really good. But it also does something else. It also gives that layer of protection for your Infernoids. When you control 2 Inferno monsters, the higher level Inferno monster can be the only one that can be targeted for attacks or targeted by card effects, where the lower level Inferno monster cannot be. Right off, face value, it's a great card, but you get no immediate plus from actually activating this card, so it's rather slow, guys. I really dislike it for this format, but who knows, there may be at the time where you may want to use this card later on down the line. Moving on to the quick play spell card for this Archetype, we have Void Shear, and it reads: target 1 Inferno monster you control. That target is unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of this turn. And it also has an engrave effect, so I'm going to read you the engrave effect. Inferno monsters you control would be destroyed by a card effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard instead of destroying one of those monsters. So it only protects 1 of your Inferno monsters, but you can banish this from your graveyard to save your Inferno monster from like a Dark Hole or Regeki or an opponent monster effect that actually destroys an opponent's card. This card is really, really good, guys. I really do love this card. It helps protect those Inferno monsters and allow for you to make really strong pushes. Moving on to the traps of the Archetype, we have Eye of the Void, which is probably going to be the better trap card of the 2. Just like Void Shield was the better spell card of the spells for the Infernoids. And this spell card says, spell summon 1 Inferno monster from your hand, ignoring the summoning conditions, but its effects are negated until the end of the turn. Alright, what this actually means was it actually gets around that summoning restriction that the Infernoids have, where you have to put you can't summon them where you have effect monsters with 8 or more levels, or ranks or with 8 or more levels. So it actually gets around that restriction, guys. So this is one of the trap cards I can see actually being used at this particular point in time, just because it gets around that summoning condition and you don't have to banish Infernoids to actually get that monster on board. So I really do like that card, and you guys should pick up like 2 to 3 of these cards. just to have. All right, moving on to the last track card of the Archetype, we have Void Launch, and it reads, during each of your standby phase, you can send 2 or 1 Infernoid monsters from your deck to the graveyard. If you control a non-Infernoid monster, you have to just send this card to the graveyard. So this card is like a Foolish Barrier, but it's slower than a Foolish Barrier, but it lets you dump 2 Infernoids. So it gives you that control mill for the Archetype, which is not bad at all. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But with the Archetype primarily used in reasoning, it's just not going to be that useful at this particular time. So once they hit reasoning and the monster gate down to nothing, then I can see this card seeing a lot more play. But as it stands, you know, reason is a much faster card and a much better card to use, where you can get more than just 2 cards. Potentially, you get potentially more than 2 Inferno cards in the graveyard at one time. So that does it for this whole Archetype discussion. Like I said, guys, I will be going to locals tonight. So please, please, please tune back in later to see my deck profile and my tournament report. And this is going to be your boy, Lord Solar Prime. And I'm out, guys. Peace.